first KH radio show in lockdown. Today's programme is presented by me, Dan,
Florence,
Henry Kay,
Ayrton,
and Charlotte.
Coming up on the show, what's it like at Hawford during lockdown? We take a tour.
Have you made any New Year's resolutions? We hear from 2 Hawford people who have.
And we find out how to go exploring in the middle of lockdown and the middle of winter.
KH Radio!
Before we start the show, you might want to grab a pencil. For our competition today, we want you to count how many different voices you hear on today's show. To get you started, I can tell you that you've heard 5 so far, but now it's up to you to count. You'll have to listen very hard.
Boom, 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 boom.
KH Radio!
If you are listening to this at home, you may be wondering what it's like here at school, so we are going to show you around.
We're outside the stables now. There are about 60 of us in Key Worker Care because our parents are critical workers. Us Year 5s are in Mrs Redmond's room. We do all our lessons on Zoom so we can see our friends on the screen.
During break times, we usually end up on the hard surface due to not being able to go onto the fields, either being too slippy, icy, or falling over in the mud. When we play, we have separated the hard surface into 2 parts for Year 6 and Year 5. The younger ones, they go on the bark.
Miss Holston, what is your role being as head of Key Worker Care?
Overseeing all the critical care worker children and making sure obviously everybody's getting on with their work and staff are there to help out and make sure people are in the right place at the right time.
Is this lockdown harder than the one in the summer?
Very much so, yes, because we've got over double the amount of children we had in last time. It's really cold, and when the children get sent out at 3:30, it's trying to get you all to wrap up because it is freezing this time round.
Well, last time we had to bring in packed lunches, but this time the school dinner ladies are here and we can have our own hot lunches.
Has your timetable changed much from last time to this time?
It has changed a lot because we used to have only English and maths in the morning, but now we're having lots more Zooms. So we have about 4 lessons in the morning and 2 lessons in the afternoon.
We're walking towards kindergarten now. There are about 50 kids in kindergarten now. Everything has stayed the same.
Is it hard to social distance from the kids?
It is hard to social distance with 2-year-olds because we are very much believers in lots of cuddles and lots of playing together. So we're trying our best.
Has it been getting harder during COVID?
It is harder because you worry about the impact of the virus on their family, the children, yourselves. But we very much work together as a team. We go for it and we're there for the children.
New Year's resolutions.
Lockdown resolutions.
What will you learn in 2021?
Yeah!
My New Year's resolution is to be healthier this year and particularly to try and lose a little bit of timber, which is another word for a little bit of weight.
Why did you choose this resolution?
I think at the moment a lot of people are thinking about living healthier lifestyles, and I certainly need to. I probably have too many chips and too many takeaways, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I need to think really about what I'm eating in my diet and getting a lot more exercise than I do at the moment.
How do you plan to do this, Mr. Stiggin?
Well, we got a dog in lockdown, so that's been a good start. So I'm doing a lot more long walks with the dog, which is great. And I'm also probably going to try to do a little bit of running, but also just looking at what I eat very carefully. I think it's very important to do the exercise and the food bit at the same time.
Henry, what's your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution is probably to read more books because last year I didn't really read any.
What are you going to read?
I've got some books planned. I've got Mortal Engines, A Series of Unfortunate Events, and The Parent Agency.
KH Radio! As you know, the weather has been very cold.
And snowy.
And icy.
And wet.
And muddy.
Okay, all right. It's okay for us because we can put on warm and waterproof clothes, but what's it like for wildlife? We've been putting our questions to Harry Green from the Worcestershire Wildlife Trust.
How is the best way to explore in lockdown?
Go outside if you've got a garden. Go and listen to the birds that might be flying round. I like keeping an eye on bushes and trees which have got berries on, because you can see the birds coming to take the berries, holly or mistletoe or ivy berries. I also like looking under things, and you may well be able to find woodlice and spiders and slugs.
When it snowed, I saw a green woodpecker on my lawn. What was it doing there?
Looking for food. When green woodpeckers come down to lawns, they're usually looking for ants. If there's snow, they may push it aside with their bill and then get into the ground underneath, get their long sticky tongues down a hole and collect the ants and eat them.
Can you give me an interesting fact about a creature at this time of year?
Wrens are small brown streaky birds with a cocked up tail. At night, all small birds find it very difficult to keep warm if it's really cold. So wrens will gather together and roost together in a nest box or a hole in a tree, and up to 30 wrens have been seen entering a nest box at night and then popping out in the morning.
Thank you, Harry. If you have any wildlife questions for Harry, please send them to your teacher and we'll get the answers for you on the next programmes. It's competition time!
If you want to enter this week's quiz, tell your teacher how many different voices you counted in today's show. If you lost count, have a guess.
Have a great week, everybody, wherever you are. Stay safe and well. And join us on next week's KH Radio.
Goodbye!